If work don't wake you, I ain't gonna shake you. I'ma always be an asset. It's like, man, look, how was you? And that's why I can relate to the youth so much. I can relate to people in general because of the fact that I was them. You'll get that when your time comes, but have fun, Go
Right.
do all those things. And I'm not gonna tell you what not to do, but understand that if you do those things, be willing to accept what comes with those things.
Right.
And that's my way of teaching. We need examples.
Absolutely.
Our culture needs more examples. We need consistent examples that's saying, like, this is what you can do. Depending on the decision that you make, the outcome is going to be there. Are you willing to accept the outcome? I always stand up. I'm always about pushing whatever I got going.
Yeah, you got to.
That's what it's
Man,
about.
It's gonna be so many people that look at this. You want to get every bit of it.
Get them looking, man. Anytime you need me, let's work.
Yeah,
Beyond this, good people. Like I told you, I don't just be just talking just to talk. It's like I'm confident in who I am. So like when I give a person their respect, I'm like, look, dog, you reached out, and I was like, hey, this is where I'm at. 'Cause I'm used to people bullshitting, people just talking. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, yeah, whatever. But when you see a person do what they say they gonna do, them people special in that space, so you always got to sit up there and give them their respect. And that's what I always make it a point of emphasis, because it's rare in this world. A lot of people say, hey, yeah, I want to do this. Everybody want to do everything that's convenient. Anything that's convenient, yeah, nah, hey, pull up on me. And you pulled up, you wasn't playing. I'll tell you, because my schedule don't change. It's like I created my life. Like I always say, create the life you want to live. I created my life to where everything goes around what I'm doing. But if it fits within that, man, I'm here. I'm available,
Yeah.
And if somebody else, if they got something going on or whatever, and they say, man, look, hey, yeah, give me that little space, and they for real, you got to give them their props, and you got to make sure you answer the bell.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. And, just so you know, I respect you so much that the minute that I got the response back from you, I was actually in the gym. And I keep my team with me as I work out. So everything I do, I record, I document. And you changed my whole workout that day. I was doing legs, man. And I'm sitting here like, hold on. The Edge done said he down to do an episode with me. Oh, we in the rock. We pulling up. He said tomorrow, y'all, we dropping everything that we doing and we on the way. One thing about it, I understood in life that opportunities and speed love each other. When you take opportunities and you have them in front of you, you got to take advantage of it. I know I could have probably waited till you came back to Miami or waited till you came back from Indy. I said, no, sir. Yeah. I wanted to let you know how serious I am about having you as a guest on this show. So welcome to the Get Your Ass Up show. We got a Hall of Famer, 4th overall pick. Back, what year was that?
1999.
1999. Yeah. We have Edgerrin James. I appreciate you spending time with me today, man. My audience is definitely about to appreciate having a legend, an NFL Hall of Famer on the show today. And brother, thank you so much for taking your time to sit down with me today, because just even walking through your establishment, I can see what your life is like. You're not messing around. You got plenty of business going on. And I wanted to really, sit down and pick your brain. And as I was watching some stuff about you, I realized the businessman that you are. And I walked through your building before you got here, and I saw you had your entity structures on the wall. You like the whole setup. You had multiple. I was like, man, he's sitting out here. He must be having conversations with my dad, because that's something that my dad is really big on. Is having your business properly structured, having multiple companies and holding companies and management companies, etc. And I saw it on the wall. I said, man, brother know what he's doing here. But once again, man, thank you so much for taking time to join me on the podcast today.
Nah, man, I appreciate it, man. I tell you, I always connect with the real. And, for me, I'm going to kind of get a feel for a person by their approach. I'm going to always stay me, but I'm going to put the situation to where it's like, if you really want it, if you want to do it, 'cause I'm not going to tell you no. If I see a brother doing something, I see somebody doing something positive. I don't care if it's brother or not, but I see a person doing something positive, and especially if it's a brother, I'm gonna be like, man, dog really want to do something, and he's serious about it, because this world is full of a lot of people that just talk. Everybody talking, everybody want to end up being the end product, but they don't want to go through all the things that it takes to actually become. And so when you see somebody doing something and you see them putting forth the effort, there's no way you can turn them down. You can't turn them down, because I used to be that person. I was that person that wished that somebody would listen to me, or wished that somebody would be there and step up, because I'm a sponge, so I've always hung around the older people. I've always hung around people that would give me game or kind of advance me. And you have some people that brush you off. A lot of time people brush you off, and it's not that they just brush you off intentionally. They brush you off because they know that everybody that's usually just talking.
Right.
But when you see somebody that's real, it's like the antennas go up. I'm like, yeah, dog, serious, because I said, hey, this is where I'm at, this is my schedule, it's on you now. So it's like, put the ball in your court, and that's what I started dealing with the kids, because I've always dealt with a lot of the youth, and it got me to a point where I was kind of getting frustrated, because I'm like, listen, man, like, I wish I had a me in my life, and you guys don't understand that, dude, I'm doing this, and everything I'm doing is for free. Everything I'm doing is like straight from the heart, and straight from, it's like I'm walking through my past, and I'm sitting back saying, man, like, I wish I had this person. So I became that person. And then you start seeing that everybody playing games, everybody not really serious about what they're talking about.
This is the stuff I talk about all the time,
And
bro.
that killed, and it used to kill me. So I started saying, you know what? I was, at one time I went through a phase where it's like, you forcing people, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. That's not the way. It's 10 people, but it might be 1 or 2 that might really grasp it. And so I started saying, you know what? Let me just put it in their hands. I put everything in everybody else's hands. If you say you want to do something, all right, I'm going to put it in your hands. If you want to do it, hey, if we got to be up at 6 a.m., at 6 a.m. we're going to work out, we're going to do this round, I'm going to be there.
Right.
I ain't calling you. My grandfather, he used to say, he had this saying. My grandfather was a contractor, and he always led people. But he never asked nobody to do nothing. He would never sit up there and beg nobody. And he would have this thing where he say, if work don't wake you, I ain't gonna shake you. He's like, I ain't waking you up, man. If it's serious enough to you, you'll get up. You'll be there. So I always hung on to that, to where it's, man, look, I ain't chasing you. Dog, if it means something to you, look, you'll be there. I'm going to always be an asset. And I make sure I put myself in a position to be an asset in every situation. If I'm not an asset, I'm going to try to find a way to become an asset to the person or to people, to where it's like, hey, you want this. Because anything that I want, man, if I need you, or if I want to do something with you, I want to be involved with you, I want to be down, I'm knocking on your door. I'm calling you. I'm going to call you multiple times. You're going to get tired of me calling you, because that's what I want.
Did I not just say this at dinner a few minutes ago? I was like, hey, man, there's a couple people that I wanted to get, and I said, they're going to either get tired of me, or they're going to have to
I'm
come
knocking
around.
on your door. Like, it means something to me. It has to mean something more to you than the person. So I'm going to knock on your door, and I'm not going to belittle myself. I'm not going to sit up there and embarrass myself. But I'm going to do it in a respectable way, but I'm going to let you know that I'm serious.
Right.
And a lot of people won't go to that extreme. They sit up there and say, like, man, I ain't chasing nobody, or they feel like you got to chase them. And then it's so crazy nowadays, it's done trickled down to the kids. I'm like, listen, kid, like, dude, I'm somebody. And you may not see me as somebody because I try to appear as normal, but, dude, you don't understand. I'm really somebody, and I'm here to help you. Like, you don't have to give me a dime, and it's like, I'm not coming to you because I need you or because it's something that I get out of it, It's just because of an obligation that I feel like, man, I'm looking at myself in a mirror, and I'm like, dang, that was me.
Right.
And so a lot of times it can frustrate you. It can put you in a situation where you're like, dang, man, I'm doing all this stuff, but these kids they not listening. They hard-headed. I'm like, I ain't chasing no kid. You know what I'm saying? Because the cream rises to the top.
Yep.
The one that wants to be will be. And everybody else that's playing these games, like after a while, time will kind of tell the story, and time always does it. If you give them these situations where you put them in and you say, hey, look, if you want me, you call me. And you better be on time. We call it Dungy time. Coach Tony Dungy, that's like one of the greatest coaches ever. But Tony Dungy time is the meeting. If the meeting's at 6 o'clock, it's starting at 5:55. We all know that. And anybody that's in tune with the way he do things, you say, hey, I'm going to be early, I'm going to be on time, and I'm going to be ready.
Right.
I ain't getting there at 6 o'clock and I'm throwing my stuff on. It's like I'm already in the seat, I'm prepared, I'm ready. Like, so I'm moving on Dungy time. Like if you serious about something, like step up in here because my time is valuable.
Right.
And a lot of time the youth don't really understand it because they haven't been through nothing. And nowadays you got so many people that's trying to be their friend or trying to get close to them and trying to win favor with them that they'll let them slack. And I'm like, nah, I ain't going that route.
Do you feel yourself getting discouraged when you got people that you're genuinely spending your time trying to help grow, and you feel like they're not taking it seriously enough?
At first you start to, but I think it's worth an attempt. So I'm always gonna put the effort out there, but the effort as the years has grown, it's become shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. Because you kind of know when people like BSing.
Yeah.
So you know it. And it's like, my time is valuable. I'm here to do something to help you. And if you don't want the help, it's somebody else that want it.
Right.
And the person that want it is they're gonna really get something good. And the person that don't want it, they're gonna see that you're just a guy. You just become somebody that wish they would have done this or done that. And so as life goes on, you get better at it. When you start out, you put a little bit more effort. But as you get a little older, you start saying like, I done seen this little show before. I've seen this situation before. And it's not just kids, it's adults also. Everybody talking about, I want to have this, I want to have that. It's like, what do you do in your spare time? Like, you can catch me in the club if you really in tune with what in the club. I might be on my phone and I'm reading articles. I'm reading things that's going on to better myself.
Right.
So I'm always trying to look for something that's going to take me to another level. Things that could help me.
I heard you mention Tony Dungy, and obviously, like you've been in Indy for the years that you were there. You guys had some special times there. Having somebody like Coach Dungy around who I can tell he's got a lot of respect from so many men. I heard your acknowledgement of how great of a coach he is. What type of things did you learn having that type of guy around you?
I think when you're in a space, if you're in an NFL space, and not saying that they're wrong, but it's truly a business. But you have somebody that's really understands that, hey man, look, I know I'm here and I know this is a business, but I'm also a mentor, I'm also a father, and I also understand that these kids don't have this or these young men don't have this. So you take a different approach, and that approach is respected league-wide. I think anybody that has crossed paths with a Tony Dungy understands that, look, man, hey, you respect, you wish this dude was your daddy. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Right.
a lot of us come from situations where we don't have hands-on fathers. And I haven't met one person that didn't have a hands-on father and they crossed paths with somebody that was somebody like what they envisioned as a father figure that didn't gravitate to him. Like you gravitate to those without even knowing it. You gravitate to them because like, dang, that's like a real daddy. And the people who gravitated to it the most are the people who didn't have that. Now, if you had your father, you're like, okay, yeah, I had my daddy. I had somebody in my life. you know. But when you don't have that and you see that day in and day out, you know, middle school, high school, college, and you cross paths with a man that like treats you like a man, but like a real like solid dude, it's like you start paying attention. And I'm one of those kids that sit back and say, dang, this dude right here, like, this a cool ass daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, this dude right here pretty cool. He ain't pressing you. You know, it's like, at first you say, okay, Tony Dungy, he's big in religion. He's big in his studies. And so, you know, you don't know what to expect.
Right.
And then when you meet him, you say, man, he ain't pushing this church thing on me. He ain't pushing all these rules on me. You know, all he doing is leading by example. And you just gravitate to it. You know, you just gravitate to it. It's like you always getting people recruiting you.
Right.
You always got people recruiting you. Like when you start, especially when you become good. You know, you become good, people start recruiting you in high school. They start recruiting you. And people start recruiting you even when you become a pro. People recruit you because they have a different interest. When you have a person that's B and they just become, or not just become, they just are who they are, that stands out. And when you see somebody like that, you're like, dang, dude, like, really got his stuff together. Dude, like, really, like, cool.
Right.
And so you gravitate to those things. So you pay, anything you gravitate to, you pay attention to it a little bit more. You say, dang, this right here this pretty cool, you know, to be able to be yourself.
Right.
You know, it's like, I was always able to be myself. And it wasn't something that was a conflict of interest. And those are things that always stood out. Like, man, I can be Edge. You know, I can be who I really am, and I'm not really doing nothing wrong, and I'm understood, you know?
So, who is Edge? I'm kind of curious. Who, if you had to describe who Edge is, who is Edge?
Edge is, I don't know who Edge is at times. Edge is like so many people because Edge is like, man, you cross paths with so many situations to where it's like, you are what you've seen, what you've been around. You know, you have these defensive mechanisms. Your Edge is a person that don't really trust nobody because you ain't have nobody, you know? So you sit up there and you expect, you're in situations where you're like, well, I know it's gonna go left at some point, and you're just waiting on when, you know? It's like, that's the way you approach it, but you're easygoing. You're like, man, I enjoy life. I enjoy having fun, but it is what it is. So I'm not getting mad at nothing. I'm not tripping on nothing. You know, it's like, I understand, like, who's here, who's not here, and I got a chance to witness, okay, I remember I go through high school. You know, you go through high school, you graduate. You got people that's more popular. They get gifts, they get this, they get that. You don't get nothing. you got you know, hey, you graduated, you know, and so that's what it is. And then all of a sudden, you know, all those things that you've seen, all those things that you've witnessed over the years, you know, you start seeing like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna work hard. I don't depend on nobody. Edge don't beg nobody for nothing, don't ask nobody for nothing. And you just work and you accept life for what it is. You know, I grew up in my mom took on the Jehovah's Witness religion. Mm-hmm. So you don't get nothing. You know, you don't get nothing for Christmas. You don't get nothing. So it's like, okay, it's cool. So you learn to accept, like, man, every day is a good day. It doesn't matter. Material things don't matter. It's like, so it gives you the confidence to be without. You know,
right.
Like you have a lot of insecure people. They can, you know, they go around, they mad because they don't have this. I'm like, hey, we don't celebrate Christmas. Mm-hmm. We don't get gifts. We don't never celebrate birthdays. We don't get none of that, you know. So you're accustomed to it, and then all of a sudden you come into financial success, and you're able to do all those things, and now you got everybody like, hey, what are you doing for your birthday? What are you doing for this? And you have all. None of that stuff matters. So it teaches you, like, material things are just that. They're just material things. Mm-hmm. And so you have a nice foundation. I think the foundation is good on the back end. It's bad on the front end because as a kid, you would love to get some toys. You know, it's like...
like you're missing out on everything, yeah.
Yeah, I just watch people get toys, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, like even now to the day, and I know a lot of people can't really sit up there and say, I really enjoy when I watch people have success and get things, because it's not about me. It never was about me because I grew up, and it never was about me. It couldn't be about me because of what my mom brought me up under. And so it's like, I'm really happy for you. And everybody can't really say that. Everybody really like, they thinking about themselves, or they're thinking, oh, what we're gonna do for me, or this and that. Like me, I'm really happy for a person, and all that comes from that foundation. That foundation set me up for the future, you know. And now it was boring. Now it was really boring, you know. And when you're young, it's like I used to like to watch the Cosby Show. I used to like, man, Thursday nights Cosby Show. Mom like, nah, we gotta go to Kingdom Hall. I'm like, I gotta go here.
What's Kingdom Hall?
The Kingdom Hall is where you go for Jehovah's Witness. That's the church, you know. So it's like, so I can't watch the Cosby Show. I can't do none of that. And then as I started getting old, I started getting a great appreciation for that. You know, like, man, this is what it is. Like I don't take on that religion, you know, but that foundation was set. And I don't know, as the man up top preparing me for, man, you're gonna come into success. You're gonna be a successful person, and all this stuff right here is gonna make sense later. And that's the way I kind of look at it, because, you know, I never got birthday gifts. You know, I never got anything. And that's why, like, I have a greater appreciation for anything. If somebody does something for me and it's genuine, it's real, it means more to me than it probably means to other people. You know, if somebody comes and, you know, they're just kind of there, because like I said, in high school, you know, it was like, you know, I was one of the most popular people. It ain't like I got something, you know, it's like I ain't get nothing. You know, it's like, hey, you going to college, hey, make sure you go get a degree. You know, it's like, we don't know if you're going to pro, but hey, you got a degree, and I mean, you got a chance to get a degree, you're going to college. You know, you got a scholarship to the University of Miami, you know, so that's a big deal.
That's major. And you went to the U when the U was like the U.
No, we had to build that up. We built that up, you know, because the U had its issues, and we had to build that thing back up. But we built it back up. You know, the coaching staff, the university, everybody got together and said, man, we got, like what we're going through right now, we got to tighten this thing back up, because we had those sanctions and all those things that was over our head. But, you know, I still got a scholarship to the University of Miami. You know, I'm getting a scholarship where I don't have to pay to go to college. That's a big deal.
Huge. One thing when I asked you about who is Edge, right? I grew up watching you, you know, from middle school, high school time, and I see a guy with dreadlocks.
Old, man.
Hey, we all old now, man. Like, hey, we old, bro. Hey, look, we gotta embrace it, man. I just had a birthday the other day. I just turned 39, man. You know, getting up
3
there.
behind. I'm in the 4s, boy.
You ain't too ahead of me. But you know, when I grew up watching you, bro, you had the long dreads, the gold teeth. As I look at you now, brother, you changed a little bit. You don't look like the same Edge, and that's why I said, who is the Edge, man? What like, you know, I just want to know, like, in life, what transpired to where you went from the Edge that had the long hair, the gold teeth, which you during your playing days you refused to get rid of, and now I see you life after football and you look a lot different.
Well, I think it's the evolution of Edge. I think everybody, you know, throughout your life, throughout your life, you turn to like 5, 6, 7 different people, and as you elevate and you evolve, you know, certain things, you know, doesn't really interest you. You know, it's like, you know, at first you have, like, I had longer dreads, you know, I had with the gold teeth, but those are phases of your life that you're interested in. But the beauty of my situation was nothing was forced. Everything came at its own time. It's like right now, you know, like when you go to the club, like I like to tie a lot of things to the club. I'm in the club life, and shout out to One Miami and all the different nightlife things like that. But the thing that it's like you're 18, you can go in a club and you're eligible. They have a club where it's 18-year-olds, right? You can be 24, 25, you still can go in there. You can be 30, you can still go in there. 35, you can still go in there, because you're eligible to go. But at some point in time in life, you say, hey, even though I can go there, I don't want to go there no more. Mm-hmm. It's nobody force you. Nobody stop you from saying, hey, you can't go in this club because you're eligible, you're old enough, you're doing everything right by law or whatever. But you say, man, I'm past that.
Right.
And that's where I'm at in certain things. In certain things, I'm past that. I'm past certain things, but it's not by force. It's not where somebody said, hey, you can't do this or you have to do this. It's one of those things where you're like internally, you just say, man, like, nah, that really don't do it for me no more. It's like I'm not going to no club with no kids at. I'm not going to no clubs where I feel like we got to have our shoes tied and we got to be ready.
Be ready to go.
I'm not on that. It's like, not that I can't go. It's just I'm not into that. Right. And so when it comes to yourself as a person, I think everybody evolves to a point where you say, this is where I'm at. And you start saying, like, I kind of like this vibe right here. I like going over here. I still can be out and I still can be amongst the people, but I don't have to be in these situations that I was up for 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Like, you expecting, we're going to go in the club, shit, we might have to get into something. That's fun, right. And that was our fun. And so I don't want to be in here. You got this grown man in here and, he kind of messing up the party because this is the way we vibe, and that's the way we vibed at that time. And that's what it's all about. With myself, I grow, and as I get in different circles, I grow. And I try to continue growing and taking myself to another level. And the thing that I want to do is I always want to be an example. I want to be an example to where it's like, man, look, how was you? And that's why I can relate to the youth so much. I can relate to so many people. I can relate to people in general because of the fact that I was them. And I can say, man, at this point in time, this is what triggered me to say, man, I'm kind of past that, And you'll get there. You'll get there when your time comes. But have fun, Go right. Do all those things. And I'm not going to tell you what not to do, but understand that if you do those things, be willing to accept what comes with those things.
Right.
And that's my way of teaching. And that's my way of even talking to my children. Like, hey, like everything in life, you have a choice. You have certain decisions that you have to make. And depending on the decision that you make, the outcome is going to be there. Are you willing to accept the outcome? And that's where I'm at with everything. It's like, hey, I like this outcome of where I'm going. I ain't trying to go in there and be tussling with nobody. I ain't trying to go in there where somebody's going to be shooting the spot up, But at one point in time, it was cool.
Right. I think that's some amazing, feedback because I think we get a lot of times where people kind of get stuck in those mindsets of like wherever you were when you might have been younger, and they locked into that mindset. A question I ask every one of my guests, and it's kind of like right around that time, and it's like, give me a regret, something that like through your life that you kind of harbor on or think about that you wish you would have done a little bit differently.
I don't really have too many regrets. Part of being me is being pure. I like move with my heart and I move where I'm at. So I don't really have too many regrets. And if I had to look back on my life and I look back on the opportunities that was afforded me, I would say I've crossed paths with a lot of successful people and I never let them in. And it's not my fault, it's my upbringing. It was the way that I was raised. Like, I ain't trusting nobody. I ain't letting nobody in. And in hindsight, it worked because it's more bad people than good people that come at you. So I kept out the bad people, but
probably blocks, huh?
I blocked the good people. So if I had to say things that I wish I had a better assessment And that's where having those mentors, having those father figures, having those people in your life could sit up there and kind of cipher through and say, man, look, nah, this is a good dude, or this and that. Don't push him away. I push everybody away. Like, nah, I'm over here, man. Like, I'm good. You know, like, man, I got to fight for myself. You know, I'm just fighting for myself. I don't need nobody else, because when I needed somebody, nobody was there. So now I'm like, man, I got it, you know, and everything I got is more than I expected to have or anybody expected me to have. So I'm in a comfortable space, but I probably could have been so much farther up if I would have let people in.
How much further you trying to go, man? You done did some amazing stuff. Like,
I mean, I still go to the airport. You know, it's like to my part, you going like, it's like, man, I think you always have to like reach for things that are attainable, that are far. You know, it's like you can sit up there and be content. You know, you say, how much farther do you want to go? That's like a person that's kind of like limiting me, or sitting up there saying, hey, I got restrictions on you. You know, it's like, put me in the same conversation of the person that has everything. You know, it's like, I think life is a chase. You know, you have to keep a chase. Once you lose your chase, it's like people that, you take a person that's worked all their life and all of a sudden they retire. For some reason, they just die. You know, it's something about the chase. And for me, I don't think I'll ever stop chasing. You know, I don't think I'll ever stop chasing, because the things that life affords you and things that you can obtain, you know, and the amount of people that you can help, it's endless.
Right.
You know, so me, I'm never gonna stop chasing. I'm never gonna stop sitting up there trying to better myself and be an example, because we need examples.
Absolutely.
You know, from a cultural standpoint, we need examples. We need people that say, man, look, I went through what you went through. I did what you did. And look, I'm able to obtain this. And so we need so many examples. I think these kids are sitting up there looking at so many bad examples, or they're looking at unrealistic examples, to where you need to be an example, and you can help this group. Not saying one group is better than another, but our culture needs more examples. We need consistent examples that's saying, like, this is what you can do, and then you'll see it helps the whole.
I couldn't agree with you anymore on that one. One of the things that, you know, when we talk about being examples is, you know, for me, I was an undrafted free agent, ended up hurting my foot and getting released. And recently I just, you know, NFL season's about to kick off. You got the 90-man roster comes down to 53. And there's so many dreams that get cut short, so many people that thought they had an opportunity or thought they were going to be the next best thing, that now they get smacked back with reality. I remember when Will Lewis called me and told me that they were no longer using my services, the depression that went through me. I had always been, in every level I played, the best player on my team, or one of those guys. And then the reality of like having a dream that we all chase for so long, we come from the hood or whatever, we chase the sport. We chase the dream, the idea of being able to use this to be what's going to propel us to another level. And me personally, watching Hard Knocks and all these different shows, we see people's lives, you know, when they get that hard call and that decision that their career path that they set their whole life towards is no longer real. So for me personally, you know, I like to show people a different side, and be an example of like what success can look like even without having the sport. Because for me, man, like I thought I was going to have a Ray Lewis career.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be the next Ray. And then now I'm sitting at home and I'm depressed because the only thing that I knew that could save me was now gone, because that's what I thought. In my mind, it was football or nothing. And, you know, now to be in the entrepreneur world and be doing real estate, and, you know, now this has made me millions of dollars and made me more money than I made, you know, as an athlete. You know, this is something that's so positive that I love showing it to our youth. shown it to people that look like me and you, who now say, okay, dang, man, I don't have to be in the streets. I don't have to be a ball player, but there's other opportunities to be able to come in and now use my intellect to get me further. I've looked at like coming in this building and I seen one all over everything, bro. It looks like you got like every brand, you got everything going on. It looks like clothing line, club, what else you got?
Everything. Man, like, what are you into? Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. It's like, first of all, you sit up and say, what am I? I'm into the nightlife. I love the nightlife. I like being outside. So I go get into the nightlife. I get clubs. I have a gentleman's club. I have regular clubs. I'm involved in the nightlife. You know, if you think about the three necessities of life, food, clothing, shelter. I said, man, let me get over 50%. So let me get in the clothing, and let me get in the shelter. I deal with the real estate. So I just think it's only common sense. It's only common sense to get involved in things that are necessities, and plus, what are you into? It's like, I never feel like I'm working. You know, everybody like, and you chilling every day or you don't, but I'm working, but I'm having fun. You wouldn't know if I'm working or if I'm having fun.
Right.
And once you get to that space right there, that's a good life, because most people are living a life that they're trying to make an ends meet and they're not really happy. Like, I'm really satisfied with what I'm doing, because every day I'm doing something that I don't mind doing. And if I was working another job, I would take the money from that job and put it into these things that right. I already have. So that's what I did. I said, I'm only going to do things that I'm into. I love to read books. You know, I like to read. I like information. I wrote a book, From Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket. You know, I'm not going to do nothing
let me interrupt
that doesn't
you real
make
quick.
sense.
Hey, y'all, first off, man, Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket, where can we get the copies at?
We can find it on edgerinjames.com, or you can go to Amazon.
Just so y'all know, man, first and foremost, his brother is getting it done. The Forward by Peyton Manning, that's lit.
Called the Big Dog Zone, you know, like, but you know, it's like, you know, it's not. It's one of those things where it's like, I never like to rely on nobody. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when you're doing things, it's like you can't be too prideful to be like, man, let me call P, because this is my boy and we done put in some time. But I'm not gonna be so prideful to be like, I'm not gonna say, hey, can you do my forward? Because you know the answer is gonna be yes. But I think too many times from a cultural standpoint, we're so prideful to where we would not ask somebody, will you do this or will you do that? When it's an easy yes. Right. You know, like, oh, I don't mess with the east side, I don't mess with the west side. And like, from a business standpoint, man, I see so many of our people restrict themselves because they can't do this, or somebody gonna look at them like, why are you sucking up to this person, or why are you calling on to that person, or, you know, when it's like, come on, man, like, I have a relationship with this person. You know, yeah. I'm cool with this person. You know, if it wasn't for y'all, I'd be over here a little bit more, you know. And so it's like, come on, man, like, once we understand or once we learn that everybody's needed, is not that you're dumbing down or you're sucking up to this person or you're switching out, to where it's like, it's business, you know. And for me, it's like, I could easily go and do the same thing. I don't have to call. Like, I've never been somebody to name drop or this and that, but that's truly my friend. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, if that's my friend, like, why not say, hey, look, I'm doing this. I'm putting this thing together. Hey, would you take part in it? Right. But we're so prideful because we've been taught to be like so prideful to where you say, okay, I don't ask this, or I don't do this, I'm not doing that. When it's like, it doesn't even make sense, to where if you're all right with somebody or you dig in the way somebody do something, or somebody can help elevate you, why not sit up there and say, hey, man, hey, can you do this? And they can say yes or no.
Man, that's what I did with you, bro. I reached out. Hey, look, I said, man, we got Edge. I sent automatic. You. Listen to me, man. Y'all think I'm joking, man. I was sitting in the gym And I just happened to check my phone for something. I don't know how I saw your name, but I was like, damn, it would be dope as hell to get Edgerrin James on the show. I seen you that message. They asked you, no bullshit, they'll tell you. I looked, I said, oh shit, he just responded.
I tell you, pull up.
And that's the one thing, like the pride is something that we gotta remove.
I mean, it goes both ways. It goes both ways, right? It's like, if you don't remove it, you're just one less player in the field. You know what I'm saying? For the people who don't sit up there and put their pride in the way or sit up there and restrict themselves, you know, now they have more opportunities. It's like, think about it. If I say, man, I only mess with the west side, I done eliminated the whole east side from me taking myself to another level, from me being who I want to be. And I think that's one problem we have as a culture. You know, we restrict ourselves too much. I don't know if it was planned that way or whatever, but we got to fight through that. We got to sit up and say, man, look, if I deal with somebody or if I feel like this right here can advance me or these things right here are good, we have to take that pride and put it to the side because it's about the bigger picture. Because I don't care how prideful you are. Once you become that big dog, everybody rocking with you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, and so everybody play all these games, and sometimes it be those people that don't have nothing going for themselves, or don't really have potential, or they like insecure that they hold you back.
Yep.
It's like if you ever get around real business people, or you ever get around real like positive or influential people, they'll understand like, man, this life is about people. The more people that you can engage with, the more people that you can like interact with, the better your chances of being successful. But we restrict ourselves too much. And it's one of those things where it's hard, but at the same time, once you get the confidence to say, man, I'm just gonna do what I do. And that's what I've always been my own person. You know, it's like, man, you say, oh yeah, I don't mess with this person. All right, that's you. You don't deal with them. All right, cool. I crossed paths with them. They was cool with me. It's cool. It's okay. Now, do I have to put them together? I don't have to bring them together. It's more enough time in the day. And you can restrict yourself if you want to, but I'm not going to restrict myself. I'm not going to restrict myself. I can't talk to this person because you have a personal problem, because you and the girl or this and that. You got all this stuff going on. Or you might see somebody say, oh, this girl is not this girl is not that. It's like you forgot, you left out to you. You know what I'm saying? To me, it might be a different thing.
Yep.
And that's a big problem that we have, you know, and I can't speak for everybody, but if you're around a lot of the other cultures, they doing business. They can be done cussed each other out every day, this and that. But when it comes time to sit across from each other, man, they gonna put that paperwork, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. Our culture, man, I ain't coming. I ain't doing it. And when we say, why are we so far behind? Look at all the little things, because, man, we some sharp people, man. We're very sharp, you know. But we're not sharp when it comes to the mentality. You know, because we sit up there and we restrict ourselves. It's like, you know, you say you're in your own way. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're in our own way. Not saying all the time, but sometimes we're in our own way. And then you look at the dude that he could be like square, or he could be somebody that's not the most cool dude, but he's steady elevating, He's just playing that game the right way.
Playing the game.
He positioned himself, and now you see him being the big dog, the boss. And you're like, hey, how you get there? And you can sit up and do all the talking you want to, but he's there, you know. And not saying that you have to suck up to people, not saying that you have to be something you're not. I just think that you have to understand, look, man, this whole thing is about people. You know, if it's 300 million people in the U.S., I want to connect with every one of them, you know. But if I say, man, I only deal with males, I just eliminate some. Yeah. I only deal with blacks, I eliminate myself. I only deal with this. Every time we sit up there and put a restriction on something, we cut ourselves out of an opportunity. And that's one thing that I try to be more conscious of. It's like, I'm not gonna say you're supposed to deal with the bad people.
Right.
And what you deem as bad that's a personal decision. You can say, okay, this dude is bad, or it's not good for me, or this and that. But let it be real. Let it be something where it really has some substance. And you say, I really can't take it. Now, if you say, oh, I'm only going to deal with this type of person, okay, cool. Be willing to accept. I don't want you sitting right here saying, oh, my friends don't support me. Oh, these people. Listen, dude, you don't support yourself because you restricted yourself. I don't want to see all that, you know what I'm saying? So I just think in this world, everybody needs each other and at different points of life, not saying that you have to go over there and be this. They're like, oh, this dude over here acting this or he acting that. Nah, dog, like this dude understand what he's trying to accomplish.
I can't help I'm such a football fanatic, man, and a fan. I gotta ask you some football stuff, and then we're gonna jump back on some business here in a second. But bro, you played on one of the most prolific offenses in NFL history. Bro, you had Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison. Just a lethal offense. Why the hell did you go to Arizona?
Well, football is a business. It's a business, and it comes down to, dog, do you know your worth? If I told you, listen, man, I like you as a person, but it's out of my hands, and I need you to work for this amount. But anywhere else, you're worth this amount. You put in a lot of work.
Right.
Then you go back to the basis of what you're coming from. Like, I'm coming from nothing, so every dollar means something to me. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand, when you walk into that NFL world, it's a business. Take the personal out of it. Mm-hmm. So I've always took the personal out of it. The coach, the coach, that's my organization. They can really do no wrong to me. They've been too good to me, regardless. So when it comes times to make a business decision, you can't make a personal decision. You can't sit up and say, man, well, I'm Edge. I love this place. I love this and love that. It's still a business. You remember what I came to? I walked into a business first.
Right.
And so business becomes first. Business before personal. And always keep it in that order. Sometimes people put personal before business. You can't do that. So for myself, it's like, I understand that we have a salary cap. There's rules that's in place. There's only so much a team can allocate to certain players. And if I'm a player, and if I sit up there and say, dang, I want this, and I deserve this, and I put in all this work to do this, but on the business side, this would tear down the team. Mm-hmm. This would make us a franchise that wouldn't be able to produce. I had to sit up and say, man, you know what? They need to do what's best. And so that's what everything came down to. Mm-hmm. But you have options. You have options. It's 32 teams, so there's 31 other teams. And within all that right there, you don't sit up there, you don't become bitter. Like a lot of guys, they become bitter. They worry about this and worry about that. You remember, I just met these people 6-7 years ago, and my connection to them is what I can do for this organization. And so it's not like these people birthed me, it's not to say my mama, So you sit back and dog, I understand what I came into. And then you start looking at all the different options. And so I looked at the options, I made my comparisons to this, that, and everything that I knew at the time. And I said, man, look, I got a chance to go to Arizona. They got 2 wide receivers, Larry Fitzgerald and Quan Boyd. They have a Super Bowl MVP quarterback, Kurt Warner. They have everything. All they're missing is a running back. They have a good defense. They have everything in place. So for me, I'm like, man. And then they have a black coach. I'm like, but this black coach was the one that my coach was under. And I was like, man, Dungy is the man. So I'm like, okay, the guy that taught him.
To my Dennis Green.
Yeah, Dennis Green. I got a chance to go play for Dennis Green. And it has nothing to do with black coach, white coach, but I'm like, that's your comfort level. You're like, okay, like, there's so many connections that says this is not bad. They need a running back. They have the receivers. They have the quarterback. They have a defense. They have everything. Okay, but yeah, it's Arizona. All right, cool. And I'm Edge, man. Like, I'm coming from Immokalee. I'm coming from the middle of nowhere where ain't one of the poorest cities in the whole fucking state. So I'm not tripping. And then I get a chance to get compensated because you have to remember, why did I come to the NFL? Why did I want to play the NFL? I wanted to make sure that I'm able to change the structure or change my family outlook on things. So let's keep the main thing the main thing, you know. So I put as much energy and effort into the thought that I could and say, this is a no-brainer, man, Arizona, you know.
Do you feel like more players should look at it as a business versus? I see, because I do see a lot of players that personalize the business of the NFL, and it is a business. I mean, like, shit, the first time I got hurt, they got rid of me, and I was like, that's when I realized the NFL wasn't about talent, and it was like, are you available? Are you not available? You're out of here.
Man, I mean, you'd be foolish to think it's personal. Man, I don't even know you. These people don't know you. They don't know you at all. They don't know nothing about you personally. You know what I'm saying? It's a business. So keep it business. And if you keep it business, everything else will fall in place. Once you make it personal, that's when you tread on thin ice, you know, because you making it personal when these people don't even know you. It's like it's going to be another guy. It's always another guy. You want injury away from not even being on the field.
Right.
So if you don't treat it like a business, I've always treated it like a business. That's why nothing fazed me. Nothing can faze me when it came to that sport because I've always treated it like a business.
It didn't faze you when the boys won a Super Bowl right after that?
I was there. I was hanging out. You know, it's like, shit, I get to hang out. You have to understand, like, if I don't make money, it phases me more because now my purpose was to take my family out of this situation. You know, like, I got dudes don't offer me their Super Bowl ring and all this stuff, right, for money. You know, so it's like, those are the telltale signs that let you know, like, man, those rings are cool and that moment is cool, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, man, who gonna pay these bills? Who gonna take care of my family? Who gonna be able to help this situation when it comes? Because that's what this world is about. It's a capitalist state. I'm a capitalist world. In the United States, that's where we at. You know, like, if you don't, I don't care what you've done in the past, if you don't pay the rent, man, you getting up out of there. Mm-hmm. And that's just the basis of it. That's as simple as you can make it. So I've always understood that. You know, so I understood the assignment. I understood that, look, man, I don't care about all the other stuff. The bells and whistles, they're cool. Now, of course, you would love to be Super Bowl MVP. I want all this, I want all that, you know. But at the end of the day, when these people come knocking on that door and they tell your mom that, hey, the mortgage hasn't been paid, you can't show them no Super Bowl ring. You got to show them the money. And so I've always kept that in perspective. Mm-hmm. You know, I never deviated from it. And anybody that deviates from it, they fooling themselves. Right. Because just think about it. Look at the facts. The facts are what they are. And I live my life on facts. Just look at it. You know, I don't care what you've done in the past. You know, yesterday's scores don't win today's ball games. I don't care what you did in the past. Right now, it's about, hey, what you gonna do for this man? Are you gonna pay this man, or are you gonna get up out of here?
What's your proudest accomplishment in sport?
In sports, I went to 2 franchises that wasn't doing well, and both of them ended up being some powerhouses in the NFL, and I made it to the NFL. I don't think nobody can look at that and say, look, man, I made it to the NFL. You know, the NFL is a big thing, but not only the NFL, I made it to the Hall of Fame. You know, so when you sit up there and say, man, I'm putting on that jacket means something. That jacket only comes out every now and then. So if I say the most proudest accomplishment, is the way I went about it and the things that it took to get there. It has to be the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's dope. All right, give me your top 3 running backs all time.
Top 3 running backs all time. I mean, I'm just going to keep it in the order that they have it, But Jim Brown would probably be my number one. That would probably be my number one, Jim Brown, because Jim Brown was ahead of his time. And then you can
I can see why you say Jim Brown.
Yeah, Jim Brown legit.
I went back and watched some of your highlights today, and I was like,
Jim Brown, like he's a man. Like
that's how you played though.
There's a man's man.
Did you kind of form some of your game around?
I didn't really know Jim Brown. He came before me, so you learn about them as you go. But as you go, Jim Brown is a man's man. When you start looking at it, like Jim Brown is probably number one in my mind. And then you can always mix Barry, Emmett, however you want to put it. You say top 3, I'm always put those 3 because like Emmitt Smith, to be able to sustain and play that long and play at a high level. He's somebody from Florida, and he represents the state. And, Emmett is somebody you'll sit up and say, yeah, Emmett, but then Barry didn't have that many opportunities as far as players, and he come from a place they don't win a lot.
Right.
And to be a running back, man, to be successful week in, week out for 10 years straight, knowing that all your work go for nothing, because Detroit ain't really win nothing. They never won nothing. And imagine if he had that extra motivation. So I would put Jim Brown 1, and you could throw Barry and Emmett however you want to do it. However you want to put it. Like that's how I would look.
I heard you say Emmett was from Florida. We talked earlier about Fred T.
Yeah.
Give me your top 5 running backs from Florida.
I'm never gonna put myself in the equation.
You got to be in the equation, man. You got to go jacket. Stop.
Stop.
You in the equation, bro. You in the equation. You got to go jacket. How many of them got gold jackets?
When they talk,
go jacket.
But that's when they talk to you. When they talk to you, you do it. I'm always. It's like, man, I'm big time Fred T. Fred T. My boy. Fred T. One of my favorite. But Emmett first. From the state of Florida. I'm University of Miami biased, so I'm always do that. But I'm going Emmett first, Fred T. Fred T. gonna be, because I want Fred T. to get in that Hall of Fame. Like he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Like that's one of my favorite players. And from the state of Florida, so I don't know if they had to be birthed in the state of Florida. That's tough, man. Like that's tough. I'm going with all University of Miami backs.
I ain't mad at that because y'all had some dogs for sure.
Yeah, like Frank Gore gonna come up. Frank Gore, CP, Willis. Like I'm doing my stuff, University of Miami, but I got to give.
Did y'all all play at the same time though?
Nah, we didn't play at the same time, but we all understood the assignment. Yeah.
Who? Because I remember at one point y'all had like a crazy team. I can't remember. It was like 90, 99?
Nah, that was like 2001. 2001, I had just left, but all them boys was together. So you had Frank, Willis, Portis, all them together.
That's
so
crazy.
I'm going to put them in my 3 of Florida. But I got to give Emmett, he's like the big dog. He's the godfather. It's like you can never discredit that. Fred T, one of my all-time favorites. Like I just always like Fred T. Like we grew up in the same areas. Like we grew up like 30, 40 minutes from each other. Mm-hmm. So we always knew of each other. And Fred T is one of my just favorites. Like from a running back standpoint, like if you had to sit up there and say, okay, this is what I want a running back to look like, Fred T would be it. That's what I would put in number 2. And after that, you can put them however you want to. Frank, CP, Willis, however you want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm just the coach on the side. Say, hey, let them go in.
Hey, my man's so humble. He's in the Hall of Fame and don't even want to put himself on the list. That tells you everything about him, man. That's crazy. It's so many things that I just want, I want to ask you because, man, you got a wealth of knowledge. I realize, I watched your interview with Shannon Sharp, and he talked about you being cheap, or people calling you cheap, and it was really impressive to hear you talk about just being disciplined and how most of the guys that called you cheap ran out of money or probably broke now. Life after football is something that a lot of guys struggle with the transition. Recently, I found a lot of guys reaching out to me because they're on that back end of their career where they're trying to get more business savvy and trying to get, organized, whether it's through real estate and ownership and things of that nature. Who was it that pushed you in those directions? Was it just something that you made that decision? What was the preparation that you made for as far as investing and taking, the after football life more seriously, business wise?
Well, it starts from your roots. My grandfather, he led a lot of people. He was a business person. So I come from a business savvy, but old school business, not the paperwork, this and that, but street business, this is how you do a handshake type thing. So you come from that and you start to get a better understanding of people. And so once you start learning, people, you move from there. It's I never trusted nobody. Everybody say, oh, you got to trust somebody. I think, no, don't trust nobody. If you don't trust nobody, that means they have to give a little bit more effort to gain your trust or get inside. So when they say, hey, you should trust, say let your guard down, you shouldn't be so guarded. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. They trust. Now show me your hand every time. Mm-hmm. If you show me your hand every time, then we can move forward. So I live off that. I ain't trusting nothing. I don't care what it is. I ain't trusting nothing. Show me. You got to show me. And so when you start from there, and after they show you in a step-by-step process, the con man's game is speed. I come tell you this, I talk real fast, I go do this. And all of a sudden you just, yeah, okay. Athletes get frustrated. I understand athletes get frustrated because the entourage, everybody laughs when you say this little corny joke. They say, yeah, you're doing this, you're doing it. Yeah, that means nothing. You know what I'm saying? So when you have to put it all in perspective, you know what I'm saying? Now get around real people. Get around real people that really not going to laugh at your jokes. Get around people that's going to sit up there, take you for what you really are. So that's the basis of where I'm coming from.
What give some advice to the youngsters that's in the NFL right now, business wise, because you get the guys come in, they get that check, never had money before. From a veteran standpoint, what type of advice are you giving a guy that's coming in now to make sure they don't go broke and that they can have, a life that's comfortable after football?
Well, the first thing I never understood why do nothing. You don't have to do nothing and you're still gonna make the money you're gonna make. Educate yourself. Get involved with real people. Real people come after you sit around and you've sat up there and you've dissected them, and there's no clock on real people. Con people, there's clocks on con people. They have a time. People that isolate you, they're not good for you. The people that sit up there are not willing to tell you, hey, go let everybody check. Go let everybody check it out and then come back and see me. Those people are good for you. So have these systems in place. I've always had these systems in place to where it's hey, if I got to sit down and you give me this material, but you put a time limit on it. Time limits are the worst thing. You're already playing ball. You're making your most money right now. So make sure that you educate yourself enough and you understand, don't be pressured by the clock. The only clock you have to worry about is the game clock. That's where the real check's coming from anyway. So doing nothing is very important. And a lot of those kids get pressured thinking, you have to do this, you have to do that. But hey, do nothing. Do nothing. Educate yourself. And then surround yourself with people that don't need you. Mm-hmm. I think that's very important. If you sit around people that don't need you, that holds you accountable, because I'm not going to be somebody that don't need you and you're going to sit there and pull your little, I'm going to be late, or, hey, I'm on my way, but you really in the house. I'm not doing that. And that's where it's a lot of little things that lead up to why these problems happen. Athletes are, or a lot of time, the young athletes, they're in a situation where, they're comfortable. They're comfortable with people that just, yes, yes, yes. They have a bunch of yes men. A yes man is never good. You have to remember, a yes man, he says yes to everything and anything. And you're not the only person he says yes to. So you have to surround yourself with the right people. You have to get a core of people that sit up there. They don't need you. They're not going to be yes men. They're backed by facts. They're going to tell you what you need to do, and you can go to anywhere, at any place, at any time, and it's going to stand up. And then once you get those things in order, you say, yeah, this is my guy. But you have to have self-accountability.
Right.
A lot of these guys don't have self-accountability because they're used to more people just agreeing with them, telling them what they want to hear, and it feels good. But the reality of it is you still need to answer to somebody, or you still have a lot to learn. It's like the amount of money you make don't make you know everything. It just make you more vulnerable. And a lot of these guys are so vulnerable. They don't even really understand it. They don't even really get it. And by the time you wake up, it's too late. You're an older guy. Mm-hmm. But you have all these people around you that's just telling you, yeah. Anytime a person says yeah, nobody's right all the time. You can't just be, you need to really speak on facts. And I see it all the time, and it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, they got the money. The money can move the needle. The money can surround them with a bunch of people that's going to say what they want to hear. And the best people for you are they're not good recruiters. The best recruiters are the people that's not good for you because they have more time. They spend more time and energy into the BS or telling you what you want to hear or agreeing with you versus the answer is what the answer is. No, you shouldn't do it. No, this doesn't make sense. So if I had to talk to a young person, I would say, man, look, get you some discipline, get your team in order, or you're going to find yourself living in regret.
Mm-hmm. What was the biggest check you've ever received?
Oh, throughout the years, I think it was probably my franchise year. I was getting like $400,000 or $500,000 a week. So that was good money. But nowadays, it's not a lot of money compared to some of the guys. Yeah,
What does it? It was like $400,000-$500,000 a week. All right, so you get $400,000 or $500,000 a week. How the hell can you listen to anybody or take advice from anybody when you're making that much money?
That's the problem. It depends on who you are. I'm a system person. It's like we come through, get all the information, come up with this system. If I'm going to get $400,000 or $500,000, it's going here or it's going there. I'm not even focused on the $400,000 or $500,000. I'm focused on what I got to do. I'm always thinking about the next move. Mm-hmm. I'm always thinking about, okay, yeah, that money's made. I don't have to worry about that money. I'm always looking for the next opportunity. But, with a lot of other kids or a lot of these younger kids, you know, they may look at it and say, oh, it's 400,000 or 500,000. I can spend 10, 20. You have to remember where I'm coming from. You know, $20,000, that's a salary for a person.
Right.
You know, so I'm looking at things different, you know, and I always look at things different.
Did you ever get caught in the trap of like knowing you got $500,000 plus coming next week, so I'm gonna spend $200-300?
Nah, I never. Nah, because you have to go back to my base. My base, I know where I'm coming from, and I have a purpose. You know, I understand the purpose. I understand the assignment. To where every dollar means something. You know, like I used to go out and do this work. You know, I used to do this work. I used to work in the watermelon field. And I never forget this number, 727,435. You know, it's like I worked 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and this dude handed me $35. You know, so money means something to me. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like when you sit up there and say, man, dang, I did this hard-ass work and got $35. But I ain't trip on it, you know, because that's what the job entails.
My man sitting here with a North Carolina A&T hoodie on.
Absolutely.
I went to a HBCU, went to Winston-Salem State University, right down the road from A&T. Coming out of Black college, man, it was one of the most challenging pieces for me, right? You're understaffed, the equipment, the food, the training is basically non-existent. I remember as an athlete going to Wake Forest University to do my workouts. I used to literally go down to Wake to try to at least have like a decent area to train and things like that. Right now, Prime is at Jackson State, and you know he's like one of the guys that you see like really bringing more attention to the HBCUs. What's your opinion when it comes to HBCUs and sports and having like a fair shake at even being competitive when you're so understaffed? The money's not even the same, the coaching's not the same. First off, what's your opinion on that? And in addition to that, would you allow your child to play at an HBCU?
You know, it depends on where you're sitting at. You know, because at first, you know, as a parent, I know the challenges. As a football player, I'm like, damn, my child go to HBCU. He's going to have to do this. He's going to have to do that. But then you start looking at the bigger picture. It will never change if you don't have the prime, if you don't have the people that sit up there and say, these are the things that affect us. And that's a cultural decision that we have to make. We have to sit up and say, we're going to do things to help our HBCUs, help our people. And it's easy to go to a PWI because PWIs, they're funded and they have the best facilities. They have everything that you need. And as a parent of 4 kids that attended HBCUs, you know, it's a purpose behind it. Mm-hmm. If we don't do it and we have the financial means, we have the resources, if we don't do it, why would you expect somebody else to do it? Why would you expect a father that don't have these resources to do it if we don't do it? You know, and myself, when my son decided to go to Howard University, you know, we went down the checklist. You know, my son is good. You know, he's going to be pretty good. You know, and he could have went to a PWI.
Is that football or basketball? Your son? Football.
Plays football, and it's a conscious decision to say, okay, look, man, you understand that. Look, you understand the assignment. You understand that. Look, man, it's not going to be like a PWI. But to break barriers, to take things to another level, you have to say, I'm willing to do more. And that's what, you know, I think Coach Prime and I think the guys that's all gravitated to this situation. When I look at that kid, that was the number 1 rated kid in the nation to go to Jackson State, that says a lot. because, man, we love each other. We love each other more than we actually want to give credit, and we love each other more than people want to acknowledge or really point out. But at the same time, it's nothing like a HBCU experience.
The experience is amazing. Like, I'm just going to tell you, man, going to Winston-Salem State and definitely being a dominant athlete, man, I loved it. I mean, you get all the love. I'm on everything. But the reality when it comes to business, if I had went to Wake Forest University, if I had went to North Carolina State, if I had went to UNC, I would have been drafted. No doubt about it. Now, coming out of Winston-Salem State, first thing you hear is, hey, you level of competition, you level of competition, you level of competition. That's the knock that they throw against you to make it to where, they basically find a way to devalue you as an athlete.
But you can, that right there is not a valid point, because one of my favorite running backs of all time went to Jackson State, Walter Payton. Walter Payton went to an HBCU. So it really comes down to, man, are you good enough? Are you really good? Are you really that deal? Jerry Rice, HBCU. Michael Strahan, HBCU. Bob Hayes, HBCU. The list goes on and on. So people can sit up there and poison you, or they can distract you with all these things. But the reality of it is, let's get back to what it really is. It's a business. And if it's a business, just be good. If you're good enough, they're coming to get you. They're coming to find you. The problem I see is the distractions and being able to overcome the things that it takes to be a great player. And as a parent, I made a conscious effort to say, look, if we're going to this school, I'm prepared to step up when the school don't have this or the school don't have that.
That's dope.
I'm prepared to step in when these situations occur. But let's identify them first.
Right.
And once you identify those things, you say, okay, you know what, this is not really that bad. Because regardless of whatever or however anybody look at it, you still African-American male in the United States of America. And when football is over, when they've gotten everything out of you that they can get out of you, you still the guy that you are. And from a cultural standpoint, who most likely to be your clients if you're a business person? Who are you most likely to interact with as a person? So as an advantage, I think it even makes more sense if you're a business person to say, look, I'm going to a HBCU because, man, deep down inside, I know who my client's going to be. My daughter is at North Carolina A&T. She's going to be a plastic surgeon. She's going to be one of the best plastic surgeons the world has ever seen. You think her clients not going to be of African-American descent? And so let's be realistic. So you have to have those conversations. You have to really be realistic and say, these are things that's going to happen. These are things that's really going to matter. Look at the end result. Because when you go to any firm, if you go to any, say you're a lawyer, I have a daughter that's an attorney, I said, most likely your client's going to be African-American. You don't see a lot of African-American attorneys represent all these other races. They stick with their people, So we getting a head start on it, and you call it like it is. You can say it how you want to say it. You can sugarcoat it. You can this and that. But this is the way this world works. This is the way America works. And for me, I'm a realist. I'd rather my daughter go to HBCU to where she has built a relationship with this HBCU and her people that she's most likely to have clients because she's in business. If she's going to be a plastic surgeon, you think she's going to have all these other cultures or ethnicities come and say, hey, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. No, most likely it's not. They go to their people. and it's nothing wrong with that. So for me, it's like, man, let's get ahead of this thing. Like, this is what it is, Name one African-American attorney that all his clients are of another descent. You're not going to find that. You're not going to find that, and especially consistently, but every time you look at it, you'll see of a person of another culture or of another race, and they have everybody. We only get limited to our people, and if we get one of those people, they're people coming with restrictions or with situations. That's just the way America works, and there's nothing wrong with it. But it's like we have to sit up there and wake up and say, this is the reality of it. Let's do us a little bit more than accepting the status quo.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man, just hearing your perspective on HBCUs, I gained respect from you from the time that you responded to my DM. Gained even more respect when I come here and I meet you as a man. But as we have furthered this conversation, and I'm listening to you, with like forward thinking when it comes to the support. You said 4 children at HBCUs?
4 children. I got 6, and 4 of them are at HBCUs. So,
like, you walk it and you back it, and that's something that, like, a lot of people love talking about. Oh, I'm about my culture. I'm about my people, and then they go do the exact opposite. None of their actions actually match the stuff that they're saying. But when I listen to you, Edge, and I mean, like, this is impressive, bro. Like, to hear you say, hey, look, if Howard University is lacking on something that I can be a part of and I can assist, I'm gonna assist with that. If we had more guys that even heard it, and I'm glad that you're even verbalizing it and vocalizing it, because I was on another podcast and I had said it flat out, I wouldn't want my kids to go to an HBCU because of my experience there. Football wise, meeting people and all that, it was amazing. But when you had so many limited, for me personally, the limiting resources that kept me kind of at bay was a big deal. And to hear you be like, hey man, like, not only are my children here, but I'm going to be a part of the solution by making sure whatever resources are lacking, I can be a part of assisting. And man, I got to take my hat off to you, bro. Like, we need more of that. And if we get more people that definitely of your likeness, Deion Sanders, and more that start, even people knowing that you guys are having this, like, even knowing that is huge. Because just like I said, my experience was so, bro, I'm from North Philly originally. I go into Winston-Salem State, and I'm thinking I'm going to college to like get away from some certain things, and then you experiencing some of the hood shit that you deal with in school. In addition to that, the school was limited in like the resources and all the shit that you need to be a top-notch player.
That's the thing, is like, how is it going to change if you take that approach? It's never going to change.
You're right.
It'll never change. So for me, it's like we can all do the basics. Everybody can do the basics. Hey, this is how it goes. This is how it goes. But who's going to step up and do more? And for me, it's like, man, look, dude, you going to Howard University? Guess what? Everything that they lack, I'm gonna fill in.
Shit.
And
hey man,
everybody
this man
don't
is a
have
legend in so many different. That's crazy. That's unbelievable.
That is the reality of what it is. Because sometimes, man, as a culture, we see ourselves bumping up a little bit other, and we're so eager to get ahead that we forget about, man, like, dang, you know what? Can you do more? Like, just ask yourself, can I do a little more? Like, if I sit up and say, dude, like you said your part, right? You said how you looked at it. You said how you said that. If I sit up and say, dog, the things that you went through at Winston-Salem, could you do a little bit to help that, to prevent that? And if the answer is yes, that's the solution. That's what it's going to take for us to go to the next step. Pell Grant gonna be late. I already know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be late. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was, so let's, like, man, like, we built we built like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's, sometimes, man, we take out the special of being black. You know what I'm saying? The special of being who we are and what has happened to us in the past that made us to who we are. And sometimes, man, like, we sometimes feel like we just want to take a break. You know, sometimes some parents say, man, I don't feel like dealing with this right now. But it's like, man, this is who we are. And it's like, dog, like, look, we know we gonna be late. 8 o'clock mean 9 o'clock. Like, it's built in. You know what I'm saying? So you have to sit up there and say, man, look, I'm with that. Okay, I tell my daughter, like, hey, look, Pell Grant gonna probably be late. Ain't no big deal, whatever. We're gonna get it all worked out. But your teacher's gonna love you. They're gonna love you more than if you went somewhere else. Because those people, and man, I promise you, man, the teachers at HBCUs, they really love their students. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, it's totally different. If you, as a parent, you know, I come through it in a different phase. You know, I started going to HBCU at 38, 39, whenever my daughter went. You start seeing the passion from the teachers. You start seeing, like, man, like, this thing real, you know? And other places, it's a course. You know, you do this, you do that, but you're an athlete, so you get treated a little bit, you know, like, okay, yeah, we got to do this for the athletics. So they're doing the betterment for the whole. But when you go to a HBCU, it's like, man, those people really love our students, man, you know what I'm saying? And once you get into your mind, man, we gonna be a little late, you know what I'm saying? Cultural, that's what we do. Like, we ain't showing up to the party on time, and you think that the Pell Grant, you think all the grants, you think this and that. No, put that in the equation. Let's go ahead and put that in the equation. But overall, you're gonna say, man, dang, now I beat the system because I was already ready for it. Mm-hmm. You know, when they come say, hey, daddy, they didn't put me in. All right, cool, we're gonna call this and that because we already ready for it. We ain't gonna sit up and say, oh shit, they late, they did. No, we already know this part of who we are, and now let's make this thing work. And that's where I'm at with it.
And just to clarify for y'all, like, HBCU love, athletically is what my challenge was. We just got to be very clear on that because I don't want people to think like I didn't like the HBCU experience.
I look at the same. I look at
the athletic piece where it was so limited. Man. It was like when you know.
No. I'm and this is what I'm saying. I'm speaking as a whole first.
Right.
Athletically, it's like a high school, a big high school. I can promise you that. But it still comes down to, dog. If you a dog, you a dog. Now, if you're gonna get distracted, if you're gonna get distracted, it's a bunch of women. It's a bunch of distractions.
Hey, that's the one thing I'll tell you, like, being at an HBCU, you know, and definitely being one, like, the man on campus, you know, the women, that's...
It's a distraction. But this is what I'm saying. Like, you have to remember, like, dude, like, you have to remember where I'm coming from. I'm coming from one of the poorest cities in the state of Florida. So if you give me a weight room with dumbbells, a squat bench, and a bench that has actually weights, that's more than enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can't sit up there and accept that, oh, athletically this and that. You know what I'm saying? When I know that, okay, a PWI, they're gonna examine you, they're gonna have this, they're gonna have that. But at the end of the day, man, 225 pounds is 225 pounds. I don't care what bench you put it on, you know. And so if you're determined and you say, man, I really want to put in this work, I really want to be there, you're going to do the things. And then your frustration, the things you had to go through, all those things going to make you even more of a dominant player because these dudes, they had to do it when everything was the perfect conditions. You had to go out and step outside of yourself and say, man, I really want it, you know, and that's where I look at from HBCU. It's like, man, I'm going to always have respect for a Michael Strahan, a Jerry Rice, you know what I'm saying, Randall that played for Minnesota, you know what I'm saying, Walter Payton, because, like, dog, but y'all did it the hard way.
Right.
You know, I went to the University of Miami. You know, we got our own grit and grind. We have a different type of thing that kind of lifted us. But when you're talking about dudes that had to make it, like really get out of the mud, HBCU players, you know what I'm saying? And if any of them sit up there and embrace it.
What was it? 2000, maybe 2006, I think this was right, or 2005, 2006, I come to I'm working with DJ Williams and Ville at for a workout. I go to the U. So it's like probably my first year out of college. So yeah, it's like 2006. I walk in that bitch. Y'all got color-coded plates, sand boxes to work out in.
Everything.
I'm like, I see why these niggas is good, man.
But hold up. That's the bottom tier of PWIs back then. The Bamas and all those dudes that's rolling, they took it to a whole nother level. You see what I'm saying? It's different levels. But I don't care how you sugarcoat the weights, this and that. Still 135, 235, 300, 400.
Man, hey, look, let me tell you. When I first got to Winston-Salem State, bro, we worked out what they call the dungeon. Niggas didn't have hardly no weights. It was so bad. It was like you were better off going to Planet Fitness or something like that to get a workout in. But they did eventually they're better now. The weight facilities are getting better. You know, over time, money's went into the program. But when I first came in, I'm like, bro, I went to Wake Forest. I trained at Wake during my time just to be able to have the facilities.
But those are the things that, you know, and that's why I say, I have a lot of respect for those guys that made it.
Right.
Because those guys didn't let those things get in the way of them becoming. You know, it's easy to say, man, dang, and especially now, you know, it's like now you can win a kid over with uniforms and nice this and nice that. But when you get down to the core of it, you know, the weights are the weights. Are you willing to work? Are you willing to do what it takes? You can sit up here and say, well, this guy has it better, this guy has it better, or this guy has this guy has that. When I see a kid doing it, or I see anybody looking at somebody else's situation, every time you look at somebody else's situation, you take away from your situation. That energy you could have put in yourself, you know, you put it in like giving yourself an excuse, like a built-in excuse. Because if you fit the mold and you willing to work, man, you're going to come out and now you can make a difference. And that's what we need now. And I think everybody's preying on the fact that the kids love the flamboyant things. And everybody comes from different situations. Like they might say, you're a 5-star, you're this, you're that. And so it looks good, this and that. But then every time that draft comes, you see this unrestricted. This guy is a 1st or 1-star. This guy nobody ever heard of. Because they found it from within. And that's what makes you special. You know, because it's easy to do everything when everything is laid out. It's perfect, you know, the right conditions. And now it's hard for you to fail. But when you say, I've overcome this, I've overcome that. And as a person that's coming from Immokalee, Florida, I'm like, look, dude, nobody can tell me nothing. Like, I know what I overcame. You know, I know what it took for me to get where I'm at. So I have a greater appreciation for it. And when I see somebody that sit up there and whine and I see somebody that complain, I'm like, man, you tripping, or, you know, it's like, really, you don't really understand. It's like, have you ever been to a third world country? You know, have you ever been over there and you see how those people appreciate certain things? You know, that's what it's like. When you go into a HBCU, you say, okay, look, I know what I'm getting myself into, but when I make it up out of here, you know, you're going to know I really made it up out of here. And that's the difference.
Who's the best player to come out of University of Miami?
Depending on what you're looking for. You know,
give me your best offensive player, best defensive player, all time.
Man, the year we roll together, man. Like, I don't really, like, we don't divide each other, you know.
That's
it's
not
like,
a divide, though. It's somebody, it's the cream comes to, who got gold jackets out to you?
See, you gotta remember, gold jackets come from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, like what you did as a pro. You have some people that was great in college, and it just didn't translate. So when it comes to the University of Miami, man, I'm not putting nobody ahead of each other. Like we mob, man. We mob together, man. Like I'm sticking with us. It's the you versus everybody, man. That's how we operate.
All right, next question. Who's the best player that you played with in your career, like just in general? Offense, defense, don't matter.
Well, the best overall player had to be Peyton, man. Peyton, like, this man, football was like this dude's life, and then to watch, a person go from one franchise to another, still win it, but to watch the growth, because like when I went to Arizona, when I went to Indianapolis, it's still a 3-13 team, but to watch it grow and watch it turn into something that become special, that became a team that the whole world took notice on, and it's all because of that guy. That guy really did what he had to do and committed to the game. And it's like when I sit back and I say, man, I was around somebody that really committed their life to the game of football, and they reaped the benefits of it. A lot of us, like I came with a purpose. I ain't come from a house that had this, had that, and I was just playing for fun. So we all have different agendas. But when you see somebody just say, man, the NFL, I love this game. I was born to be this and be that. I gotta give it to P Money. P.
That's his name, P Money?
Yeah, right. He made all the money. But not only like that, like a good dude, a good dude, it's like, like just like a solid dude that you can really say, man, we don't really have too many friends that you can say, man, this is my white friend or whatever. Like, man, P can pull up to the barbecue, P can hang out, and it's cool, but well respected, no matter where they went, So I got a lot of respect for P, and if I had to say the best player that you've ever played with, especially when it comes to the game of football, that dude loved football. Like he really loved football.
Respect. All right. Now, life out after football. Obviously, you're in the entrepreneur world. But I've heard you probably 15 times, even before we cut the camera on, mention the kids and the youth. Like, I heard you just like, I care about the kids. I care about the youth. And like, I keep hearing that. Where's that passion come from? And like, what's really your focus with giving back to the community?
Well, it comes from being, when you one of the guys that was in that situation, you can relate to it. And anytime you look at the kids, you see yourself. You start thinking back. I don't think nobody can sit back and see a bunch of kids and see a bunch of kids doing stuff and not have a little moment with like, dang, that was me. So for me, that's where that stems from. And to make us better as people, we need to make sure that when you get in these positions, you can't just take these positions for granted. You have to take these positions and understand that you have an obligation. It was a reason you was chosen. Why you was chosen, I don't know. But the fact that you're chosen, don't sit up there and be selfish. Don't hold all the information, because anybody that's successful has a lot of information. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of information. And that information is to be given. You receive information and then you give information. And the people to give it to is the kids. You can give the same information to somebody your same age or a little bit older or around there, and they'll disregard it. Give it to a kid, it's going to travel. It's going to carry on. And when you teach somebody something from the first time, or you take one of these kids and you say, hey, this is how you do this. Usually the first time you learn how to do something, that's the way you do it. And if you got a chance to show them the way to do it and how to do it, and it's a successful way and it's a positive way, you just help the world. You just help the world because you showed them how to do things the right way. And the kids are the future. They are the next generation. They are the ones that's going to be doing the things that you're doing or doing the things that they see. And I think it's very important to sit up there and provide them with all the resources, all the information to where they're going to be able to carry it on. You know, if they sit up there and they see you going for bad, they're going to probably go for bad. But they see you doing things that's good and doing things that's productive, they're most likely going to hang their hat on that. And that's the time when it's a blank canvas, when it's nothing that's instilled in them that sticks when you have a chance. So it's very important to make sure that you provide them with so much information that they can utilize and actually benefit from, that they'll see it. Because once they see it, like, hey, this right here really works, man, they're convinced.
With you being so successful, I just want to, and we're talking to the kids right now. We're talking to the youth. There's so many distractions around for these kids nowadays. Even from video games to the music, is so much whether it's drill rap or whatever, where we got a lot of people that are like jumping into gangs and jumping into like this crazy lifestyle. You come from an area that is tough and, obviously you said it's very, very poor. What type of things mentally did you do to stay clear of all your surroundings? Because our environments are so toxic sometimes, like our environment can lead you down the wrong path and take you away from amazing opportunities. What type of advice or things could you give to the youth as far as tips to make sure that they avoid the pitfalls of growing up in tough areas?
The most important things are examples. You show the people examples, you show the kids examples, and you see them through. You sit up there and show, okay, this is how you become this. There are a lot of games that say, hey, I want to be LeBron James. Okay, let me show you what it took to become LeBron James. Let me show you the commitment he actually had to the game. And I think a lot of times people are just looking at one side of things. Somebody say, hey, I want to be this rapper, or I want to be this entertainer. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to see the whole. You have to understand that everything that everybody went through to become. And once you look at the big picture, you see it all, you can say, okay, yeah, these are the things you have to do. These are the things that made them become who they are. And a lot of time, everybody just getting these real glimpses. It's like everything is like a snippet. It's like, Instagram started out with 15 seconds and it moved up, and now it's 1 minute. It's like, and so you get like a snippet of a person's life, but look a little bit deeper into what it took to become.
Right.
And these are the things that you have to do to become these people or put yourself in these situations. You have to have talent, you have to have something special about yourself, but regardless, even if you have all that, you still have to have that discipline, you have to have that work ethic, you have to have that thing that's going to say, hey, man, I'm not going to be like everybody else. It's this thing, if everybody's doing it, it must be easy. So the people that stand out are the people that sit up there doing things that everybody else not willing to do, because it's easy to go with the flow. Like crowds are made for destruction. The world is ran by the few. And like, are you going to be the few, or are you going to be the person that stands out, or you're going to be the person that just goes with the flow? And like, if you go with the flow, it's a lot of y'all.
From gold teeth to gold jacket is a hell of a statement. It's a hell of a book title, but more importantly, it hits on it hits on so many things: dedication, discipline, hard work. Can you give me just like a couple real quick tips? We're gonna wrap on staying disciplined even when you don't see the end goal, or you're not being rewarded, because so many people are looking for instant gratification. We just talked about Instagram and seeing these snapshots and everything else. The work that's required to put that gold jacket on, the work that's required to see a project to its end. It's important. I think a lot of people don't really see that part. Can you just touch on the type of work ethic that you had to have, discipline, etc., to make and hit your goals for your life?
Well, I'll start with faith. You know, faith is like this thing, you can't really see it. You got to believe in it. You got to know it's there. So you have to have faith, you know. And once you like have that faith, the faith is the foundation of everything. It kind of gives you your why. You know, and you start saying, man, like, I know it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. I'm doing everything that it takes to happen. So it starts with there's different layers, you know, and then it comes to identifying, okay, what's your end goal? What are you really trying to accomplish? And while you're trying to accomplish all these things, there's going to be all type of distraction. That's when the discipline kicks in. You know, the discipline, it comes to where, hey, man, like they always say, the devil always come in to test you. You know, somebody gonna always come to test you. And you have to really understand that, man, when you're trying to accomplish something, somebody gonna come to get you off your square. Somebody gonna come to distract you. And the fact that you notice somebody's coming, it's easy to block out. Like when I'm doing things and things are going good, that's when I feel like, man, I'm at my most vulnerable. And I'm just waiting on that moment. I'm anticipating that moment because I'm like, I know something about to come up because I already know I'm rolling too good. Life too good right now. You know, something about to come up. And then out of nowhere, it just comes up. But I already anticipated it. I've already anticipated because I know when I'm doing things the right way and things are rolling for me, something's going to come. And all they do is say, man, that was a test. Dang, I passed. I passed that test. And now consistency comes in. And so now I'm just gonna be consistent in what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep chopping wood, just keep going at it, you know. And then you go back to faith because I know it's gonna happen. So you keep going, you go faith, discipline, consistency. And you start saying, okay, look, you can keep going, you're like, man, I don't know if people heard of the story of the Chinese bamboo tree, you know, when you look at that, I mean, look up that story. I think anybody should look up that story. It's a very inspirational story. But you just keep going, but you have to have that faith that it's going to happen. You have to have that discipline to not be distracted. And then consistency, just keep doing what you're doing. And then out of nowhere, you know, sometimes I look out like, man, like I always say, man, God gonna get tired of me sitting up here harping on this and harping on that because I ain't giving up because I know it's gonna happen. And he gonna just say, man, you know what, let me just give it to him because, you know what, man, this man, like, I'm getting on his nerves, or he like, man, this man deserve it because I'm gonna stay at it. And that's been my approach, and that's been like my, like I believe in that, you know. It's like I say, man, look, I know what I'm doing is the right thing. Am I hurting anybody? I ain't hurting nobody. Mm-hmm. Am I interfering with anybody? It's like you find a space to where it's, man, I'm not hurting nobody. I'm not doing nothing to hurt nobody. And I'm actually trying to help people. I'm trying this and that. So I know I'm in a clear lane, you know. And then it's like, okay, I got to stay disciplined enough because, man, when you become successful, when you start doing things good, it's going to be some times that going to test you, and it's going to go to the things that we all have vices, you know, and sometimes that vice going to test you. It might be something that would normally trigger you, you know, and if it normally triggers you, then you put in that space to where it's like, and what am I going to do? Am I going to go for it, or am I going to play past it? And you play past it, and you feel good because, like, dang, that was a chance that kind of got me off my square. And that's where that discipline comes in. And so I'm going to get back to doing what I'm doing. And that's kind of my routine with everything.
That's what's up. We got a legend in the building, man. I'm so thankful for your time tonight. Listen, so I do live events, man. I have a few thousand people out. I'm gonna have to get the edge. I'm gonna try to get the edge to come out and pull up on y'all, man.
The edge will pull up, man. I talk in third person. It's like the other person, you know.
Hey, when you got a gold jacket, bro, you can talk in third person all day long, man. I'm like so thankful for your time tonight, brother. You really like, to get to meet you and to hear your thought process. Definitely on a couple of topics when it comes to like the HBCUs and things like that, man. You just really like wowed me.
Appreciate it.
And I got mad respect for you. Make sure if you haven't already done so, you guys go follow Edge. We're going to tag all the socials at the bottom. I'm going to see if I can't get a couple of these books. Can we get a couple of these books, Edge?
Definitely, yeah. $25.
Yeah,
it's about business too. You know what I'm saying?
Look, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get like I'm gonna get like 10 of these, right?
I appreciate that.
We're gonna get like 10 books. I'm gonna see if I can't get Edge to sign them. And if you follow the show, if you follow the show, get your ass up, and you go follow me and the Edge, you'll be eligible to win one of the 10 books that we're gonna get from the Edge, man. So y'all make sure y'all go follow. You come subscribe to the channel. We got a living legend, a Hall of Famer, and go get the book for everybody that go support Edgerrin James from Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket. This is going to be an amazing book. I'm looking forward to reading it, and I appreciate your time, Edge, man. Respect.
No, man, anytime, man. You already know, man. I like what you're doing.
Thank you so much,
really
brother.
Do. I appreciate it.
I just once again, you wowed me when you told me that you came and said, hey, whatever shortages they have, I'm willing to stand up for.
You have to.
And being from an HBCU, man, that shit sent chills through my body, brother.
You have to understand, man, is the difference and the difference between winning and losing is so close. It's just those small things. And if you're willing to do those small things, that way that will kind of level the playing field. And the fact that we coming from where we coming from, that's going to take us over the top.
Respect, brother. Thank you for joining the show, brother. It's a wrap.